guys, Robert here with the Prep and Pastor. Hey, we're trying something new. Trying to create a little urban homestead environment as we continue to prepare for whatever might come this fall, but also continue to do my best to lead my family and take care of them, make sure they have everything they need. So we're trying some gardening out. Stopped by and picked up this galvanized metal raised garden bed, and we've been tracking spots in our yard. I'm trying to determine exactly where the sun is and where it's going to get the most sun. And actually right outside my yard, on my side yard beside my house, this seems to be the best sun spot for the most part of the day. So we got one raised garden bed, and you'll have to check back tomorrow. We'll get all the plants in. We're doing some transplants in this garden bed, and then we're doing some seed starters from our heirloom seeds that I got. We'll start those in the house, and once they get big enough to survive outside, we'll get a second garden bed and we will add those seed starters in there. So we're gonna have about 6 plants in here, a couple herbs. In here it's gonna be a little bit tight, but I think we're gonna be able to do it. Gardening is totally new to us, no idea how to do it. Just watching several YouTubers about it and checking out how they do it, ideas they have, how to get started, things like that. So make sure you check back tomorrow. We're gonna get this started out, and we'll get some good soil. I got some cheap soil from Walmart. It was on clearance for $3.50. just to put as a base level, and then I'll get some really good organic soil for the top layer, and then I'm gonna do a straw mulch right on top. So we got the raised planter bed all prepared and all of the grass cut out of it, and now we're gonna put in some cheap soil. Now this is really cheap soil. I got this at Walmart on clearance for about $3.50, and I know it's cheap soil, it's not super good, but we're going to do it as the base layer, and then we'll come back in with some much better organic soil right on top. But this is just some cheap filler soil. It's not terrible, but we know it's cheap. It's not gonna do what we want it to do. And so we're gonna use this as a base layer for our raised garden. All right, and so some people might be asking like, hey, why would you use the cheap soil? And here's why. We know that this spot in our yard gets the best sun exposure. But as far as soil quality, it's very bad over here. So we put some of this cheap garden soil right in here on top. And then tomorrow we'll come in and we'll add some good organic soil right in on top of this. This just serves as a nice base layer to help us make sure that our plants grow big and strong. So when I told my friend that we were gonna be planting this vegetable garden and we're gonna get ready to get some raised beds, they said, hey, you know, why don't you just use the raised beds that are already in your yard? Which is a great question. A couple reasons. One, the sun in this spot of the yard is pretty bad. We have a big tree right behind me. There's a big tree in front of me, several trees over to the side. And so the sun exposure in this part of the yard would make it pretty problematic, from everything I understand about gardening, and make it pretty problematic to grow food in. So the second reason we didn't want to use these raised beds is this right here. When I dug up the first raised bed that's now been removed, I found out that most of the raised bed was actually built with treated lumber. And we don't want any treated lumber in our raised beds because we want to make sure that doesn't leach into our food. And so these two raised beds, we're gonna pull them out here soon, and we'll try to find something else maybe to plant here. Maybe a small fruit tree or something would look pretty nice right here in the yard, or maybe that's where we'll put the kids' playground. But we didn't want these beds made with any sort of treated lumber, and that's why we went with the galvanized metal bed over on the side of the house. All right, guys, so we got our bags of organic garden soil. Picked these up at our local Lowe's. We got 4 bags of these, and then for our compost, we picked up a couple bags of this organic mushroom compost. Each of these were, I think, $3.98 a bag, and they are 1 cubic foot of soil. So we're gonna get these put in to our planter here. Get it all spread around, and then we'll plant our new little plants. All right, so we got our plants kind of arranged how we think we want to put them. So we're gonna pop them out nice and gentle from their package, and we're gonna transplant them right here in our raised garden bed. All right, and there we go. We've got all of our plants planted. So right here we got a cantaloupe. This is an Italian oregano right here. And then back here we have a basil. And then this is a green pepper right here. And then back here we have the squash. And this is a beefsteak tomato right here. And then we got a watermelon, which I'm a little nervous about because I'm pretty sure it's gonna take over. I try to give it some space there, you know, and maybe we're planting them a little close. Maybe we have too many for this planter box. We're gonna have to wait and see. Like I said, my experience with gardening is super limited, but we're gonna see what happens. We got some planter seeds that we're gonna get started, some starter seeds we're gonna start inside. All right, the last thing we gotta do before we're done for the night is to add in some straw to protect our plants from rain and pest, and just keep the soil nice and moist and things like that. So we got it all strawed in, and we got this giant bag of straw. It was about 12 bucks at our local Lowe's. And I know that seems like a lot because I didn't use very much on the garden bed, but we'll show you a project later where I'm trenching out a drain, and we'll use this when we put seed back down over that trench I get done digging. But I love this stuff because it's so thin and small, so it spreads so easily right in the bed. I don't have giant pieces of straw hanging out, so